Beautiful. Wonderful.
Great timing on the air, turning off and everything.
Oh, look at us being professionals.
Oh, hey, everybody. Welcome to the Pilot On podcast.
Yeah.
We're back, everybody, for yet another episode of this podcast that we started in quarantine because we felt like it. It started out as a podcast where we talk specifically about Married at First Sight, a show where strangers married people at first sight. It is evolved into our new cult, which we know many of you have now joined, which is the Survivor fan base. Which we're still watching. We're diving into some other seasons now, but they're not exactly the headline of what we're consuming. And we're all over the place right now. And today, Grace, how you doing?
I'm good. I was trying to think of what, people's fandoms are called different things. What is the Survivor fandom called? Survivalists?
Or just survivors. I'm a survivor.
I feel like that will get a little muddled in the context of things.
Sounds too empowering.
I think the hashtag might bring up some stuff that's not Jeff Probst related.
Yeah, maybe a little bit more serious.
Yeah.
Maybe things that actually people have had to survive.
Yeah, and also this is something that could be easily Googled, but why Google when you can just ask it into the ether and get no answer?
Just throw baseless, absolute, non sequitur suggestions out.
Yeah, that's how everything is in quarantine right now. It's just asking questions into the void and just creating your own answers for your own questions.
And speaking of empty voids, everybody, you're in for a real treat on this episode.
Speaking of empty voids, this is Elliott Morgan.
Hi, I'm an empty void. And Goose is there. If you can't hear, she's getting a little water, staying hydrated during this quarantine. But how are you, Grace? How's life?
Great. I took some time off from conducting a train earlier, and now I'm here.
What a lovely t-shirt you have that is more appropriate on you than it is me, yet it is mine.
I'm wearing a Valley Folk t-shirt. It's pink. It's very cute. You guys offer things for everyone.
That's very nice of you to say. Thank you. We agree.
Yeah.
We're a multifaceted company. Where did the overall? What's the deal?
What's the deal with the overalls?
What's the deal? I like them.
I'm wearing pinstriped overalls. If you're only listening to this podcast, I bought them on the internet at a time where I wanted clothes that were fun and comfortable.
Because you're quirky and you're fun.
Quirky and fun. And these are so comfortable, but I, for some reason, don't like wearing them in public situations because I do feel like it draws the attention that is expected.
Yeah, that was intended.
And I don't think I have the confidence to actually follow through and wear these in public, but we'll see.
Even with a mask on?
With the mask on, I feel like actually that's the great equalizer that allows people to dress however they want right now because, it's a lawless land.
It's lawless. It's the Wild West out there.
There's laws. There's stuff that you should do. There's regulations.
It's Wild West plus 6 feet.
Did you ever see Wild West?
The Will Smith
music
and
video?
Kevin
Was it a movie?
Yeah.
Oh, I never saw the movie. I saw the music video.
That was...
Wiki Wild Wild West, Jim West, Desperado.
Yeah.
Rough Rider. No, you don't want nada. Yeah.
I remember.
See, that is...
Whoa.
That applies to so many things. The lyrics, when you really listen to them, are very profound.
I still enjoy myself some Will Smith, the old Will Smith music. I like the Men in Black song. When I was a kid, and that movie came out, and then the accompanying music video came out, and it was in the place, the Men in Black headquarters with the big gray wall with the embossed dots.
Yep.
I thought that was the coolest thing ever, and I remember that being one of the first times when people were like, this is actually not cool, this is lame, and me being like, oh, I guess this is lame.
Oh, no. And so that started, the insecurity of what's cool and what's not.
Yeah.
Well, I remember that. I remember the choreographed dance that he did with the alien.
Yes.
See, aliens are intelligent creatures. They can pick up on choreography better than I can.
There's so many, babe. The alien thing right now we're dealing with, I tell you. We got a lot of aliens.
That is something that we've gotten into. We, like Elliott said, this week it's been a hodgepodge of things that we've been consuming visually. We have started Ghost Island, the Survivor season Ghost Island, which so far, our first impression, I'm like 3 or 4 episodes in because I watched some while you fell asleep last night. It's a little lame.
How much did you watch while I fell asleep?
You gave me permission to watch as many as I wanted, and I watched 2 more.
Wow, I did. I really didn't think you'd take me up on that. I remember.
I did, and then as you kept tossing and turning, I was like, I don't think he really meant that I could continue watching this while he sleeps
I didn't
next
say
to me.
anything. I was simply enjoying my slumber. Yeah. In a way that was encouraging you to also try slumber.
And I did get there eventually.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, so it's still not grabbing you though? Like
It grabbed me enough that I wanted to keep watching it because I feel like by episode 4 or 5, you find the people that are the most interesting.
the storylines.
Yeah, and you start to see stuff. But that season to me, and we talked about this a little bit before, the cast of it is all young people, and they all seem very similar. It feels like an Abercrombie and Fitch ad, like the whole time, that I'm like, did they start this with a different theme and then drop that theme after they casted everyone and change it to Ghost Island?
If you haven't seen this season, this is the idea. There's a Ghost Island, and they try to play it up like it's going to be, I guess, scary because it's haunted by the mistakes of previous contestants.
Yeah. And it feels like they're just finding ways to use that other island.
Yeah.
They use it as Island of the Idols, that they're like, we got this secondary island that we usually use to house production, but we got to use it again this season. What can we call it? Let's do Ghosts. We have all the props from all the previous seasons. Let's just use those.
This is the only season where it feels like if you left me to my own devices to make a themed show, I would make, at this stage, having seen as much of Survivor, something like that, where I'd be like, it's kind of the mistakes, because they'll get these idols and it'll be like, applies to this, but this person used it this way, so you have to use it in a way that actually works.
Right.
We haven't seen most of them, so we're like bored.
That's
with
our
it.
own fault, but then
That
also,
is on us.
they didn't do anything wrong there. That's an us problem.
No, that's not true. You should be able to enjoy a season of reality TV.
The thing too is that I haven't seen. And I've been half paying attention while watching it. Any of them use these like haunted or cursed
Can you reverse
idols?
the curse?
Right. They've all seemed to be using them poorly. I haven't seen someone use one of the cursed things successfully yet. So it feels like all of the previous mistakes are repeating themselves. It's just so jarringly a young season. Everyone feels like they're in their early mid 20s ish.
Yeah.
And if they're not, they look very young.
And that's
so
no
good
fun.
for them.
I don't like seeing the young sprites now.
I want more diversity. I want
You want
people.
Tony.
I want more Tonys.
There's no Tony.
I want more
Not a single
Joes.
Tony.
I want more.
Everybody wants more Joes.
I want more Denises. I want more. I can't believe I'm going to say this. What's her name? Is it Debbie?
Of course you want more Debbies.
I want more Deb. There's no
Oh my gosh,
Debbie.
she's a firecracker.
Debbie that can do anything. According to her,
Does nothing.
And doesn't really deliver on the things she says she's absolutely perfect at.
Except getting freaking pissed.
She gets freaking pissed. And that's what I'm missing.
So that's why we started this podcast, and we're like, we don't want to necessarily. If we're not entertained by it, it's hard to entertain.
But it's entertaining because I'm
Angry.
so into Survivor that I'm like, oh, I want this to be good. I want this to be surprising and dramatic. And yes, we're watching these all out of order, so there probably is a better system. And a lot of you have told us that we're doing it wrong, that we should have gone back to the beginning and watch up.
And we won't change, but you're right.
And you know what? I'm a Debbie in that sense. I know exactly how to watch what I want to watch, and I'm perfect at it.
And here's me complaining about my choices.
And it didn't work out, and I'm pissed as hell.
Pissed as hell. But in addition to, so you guys can feel some immense sympathy, we're a little disappointed with Ghost Island. And then I had really high hopes for the Big Flower Fight on Netflix. And that show is...
Let's explain the Big Flower Fight.
Well, let's explain it then.
The Big Flower Fight just came out on Netflix. If you haven't seen it, it is now currently available. And Elliott had found out that this was coming out a few weeks ago. So we've been eagerly anticipating this British competition show. It's basically a flower arrangement competition show.
Yes, it's Lego Masters, Great British Bake Off. Now they're doing flowers, making it
and
same
plants.
Same pairs of people working together, which is interesting because Great British Bake Off is individual. But,
individuals.
It's cool.
It's pleasant. It's not dramatic. It's borderline boring, but in a very pleasant, calming, soothing way. Having it on in the background, I can't believe I burned through it in a day because I just had it on in the background while I was doing other things. And it honestly
burn.
It was a very slow burn. I don't know if it ever caught fire, but it was very enjoyable. It was just pleasing to watch. All of the contestants are these kind of a variety of little oddballs.
No, they're the new models of people. They're all the new models of people. It's the carousel of the future that Walt Disney had in the 50s, except it's all the new versions that we have. And you're like, oh, that's a person. That's a person that exists.
That's a person
cool.
that exists.
Cool.
And having it compare and contrast to watching Survivor, it's the type of people that are cast are so wildly different.
Oh yeah,
and that's
you called it Hunger Games.
They all dress like they're from the Capitol in the Hunger Games, and it's lovely. But
it's colorful.
It's colorful. It's pretty. It's
boring.
It's boring.
It's a boring show. It's not good.
But it's pleasing. I think if you want a low drama, aesthetically pleasing reality competition show, this is the one for you.
It's great when you're out of stuff, including your standards, and you don't care anymore, and you're just like, fill the time so I can go to bed. Well, you know, when you're in that quarantine state of mind.
As someone that watches so much Real Housewives, and as someone that has been exposed to Real Housewives and watching them scream and self-sabotage in so many ways, it is nice to have a little breathing room on this flower show with people that are just doing really great stuff that I couldn't even fathom trying to do myself.
They're all very talented, and you get sad, and you do get a little emotional.
They
know how to tug at the
emotional.
heartstrings. Yeah. It's nice. But after, just to segue for a moment, so far we've talked about Ghost Island, very calm. We've talked about the flower fight.
The big flower
or as
fight.
I call it, bouquet. And,
you bouquet?
Bouquet. You bouquet.
Yeah, that's what you've been calling it.
And it makes me laugh. But after that, we finished it, and Grace was like, watch whatever you want, anything you want. And I was like, here we go. I was like, I'm going to watch a movie that is scripted, and it's got a story, and it's going to be a movie Grace hasn't seen, but maybe I've seen, and I really like.
Yeah.
And so I was scrolling through Netflix, and I saw a film by the title District 9. Now, I saw District 9 about 10, 11, maybe 12 years ago.
It came out, I think, in 2009.
Okay, great. 11 years. Perfect. We'll take it. Whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe then I probably saw it 10 years ago. I remember it being a very fun movie, very entertaining, kind of like two movies in one, kind of crazy. And I happen to know that Grace over here and myself get easily bored during films. So I thought, what better than a fun sci-fi movie that's kind of morbidly funny and also very entertaining and intense. And so I put it on, and it didn't go well. And my girlfriend got very upset about a number of things, including how violent it is, which I tend to forget how violent.
You have a selective memory of things. This is not the first or second or third time that you've been granted power to choose a program and have remembered it completely differently than what it actually is. Well, District 9, if any of you have seen it out there, you know exactly what we're talking about, unless you have Elliott memory and you think it's like the big flower fight. It's not. It's not at all like the big flower fight. It is social economic commentary. It is aliens
class warfare,
and it's class warfare, and it's a lot of violence. There's body parts that are getting blown up, and not like blown up like off camera. No, they're blown up in your face constantly. Guts are going everywhere, and it's not that overly exaggerated to the point that it's funny. No, it's like realistic and gross, and there's stuff growing out of people's arms, and they don't cut away. They don't cut away. They linger on all of these long, gross things over and over. The movie starts at an 11, and it just goes up from there. It gave me so much anxiety watching it, and I just kept saying, this is intense.
It was the whole time. It was like the Muppets, the two Muppets that heckle the entire time, except it was just Grace going, this is too intense.
I agree, this is too intense. And I didn't not enjoy it. It was just...
You were angry.
I was passionate about... not being privy to how gross it was. And also, it was a learning curve for both of us because I don't think you take me seriously when I say I can't watch like gruesome, grotesque things. And you're like, okay, this will be fine. And then it's not.
I have a theory here. I do take it seriously. However, I think I forget about the violence because I myself am not a huge violence loving person. Right. So when I see a movie and I like it, my brain goes, good movie, and forgets that all the violence is in there because I've already just blocked that out because I've gone, I had a great time. What a cool movie. Yeah. And I've forgotten about, there's some pretty gross stuff.
Well, now I've it's helped me kind of up my vetting process when you choose something of asking more specific targeted questions about the level of brutality and violence that I'm about to be a part of. It's as if like I recommended Requiem for a Dream, but I was like, it's like an indie fever dream drug movie when it's way more intense than that.
Yeah, but I don't want to spoil. I don't want to make it like that's a crazy movie just to see and not know anything about.
Right.
Like, so it's more fun if you don't know rather than be like...
You think that? I mean, I was just waiting for any moment. I was waiting just for any moment that I could catch my breath. I felt like I was clenched and shallow breathing throughout the 2 hours. It's a 2 hour long film.
That's what a good movie should be. You should be like, oh my gosh, this is so fast and fun.
Yeah, and that guy didn't need that arm, and that alien didn't need that whole body. I mean, but it is in regard to its connecting to what's happening in our current society and world.
That maybe did help the less than the violence.
That part was interesting to watch. That this was made 10 years ago, and there's a lot of stuff about people, catching viruses or diseases, or
basically at one point in the movie, the guy who's going around basically evicting people, aka aliens, out of their homes.
Town.
One of his workers puts on a mask because he wants to make sure that he doesn't breathe in anything, and the main character goes, why are you wearing a mask? You look like a sissy with that, take it off.
Yep.
And then that guy who says that later gets shot in the face with a thing that he ends
a mysterious
up not having a
liquid
mask on for. A mysterious liquid, and shenanigans ensue. But
shenanigans, no,
listen,
horror, trauma ensues. That's what ensues.
It's also just
deep,
I do like
complex,
movies.
Aggressive conversations about society without holding back gruesome visuals ensues.
Okay.
Otherwise known as shenanigans.
Shenanigans. But I do think that I'm
glad I watched it.
You're glad you watched it? Mm-hmm. I forgot what else.
You do think, sorry, I cut you off. You had what seemed like passionate point to make.
I did, but I can't imagine it having any sway on your hard and fast opinion on this fantastic movie.
It was good. It was just, a lot of you going, what are you doing? And me playing Scrabble as a way to calm myself down from the visuals that were happening in front of me. Mm-hmm. It was my way of not biting my nails. Instead, I was just furiously trying to play Scrabble and retreat to a safer place.
Yeah, you were closing your eyes on the roller coaster, and I was like, this is the best part.
Yeah, as like bird bodies were flying in my face. Yeah, it was great.
We had a good time, and it's a fun film, and
fun for the whole family.
It's fun for the whole family, and I do like. That was the point I was making. I like content or stories where things get worse and worse and worse and worse in a way where it's just like, what else could go wrong? Because at that point, it does start to get very funny. Like at one point, he gets a call from his significant other, and he starts breaking down because she's like, I just want everything to return to normal. I want to come back. And he's got this big sigh of relief. And I was in the kitchen, and I was like, I can't remember, but I think this is a setup, and he's getting like tracked by the FBI. And you were like, you think that's what's happening? And I was like, or it's the first good thing that's happened to this guy in the entire movie. And after a point, it gets very humorous. And then the violence, I think, becomes less serious because it's just like, oh, of course he's gonna do that, or this is gonna happen.
You don't root for anyone, and
That's the other thing,
there's no one to root for. and there's nothing happy that happens, and maybe that's the whole point of it, which is fascinating.
The gap from going for the flower fight, I mentioned this in the Valley Cast that's coming out next week with Kevin Pereira, the guest in the next episode of the Valley Cast. Great guy. And we mentioned this, and they think what's to blame is the fact that it was directly after the big flower fight.
Yeah, I would say the contrast was a little too big for us, but that's what we've been doing, is we've been watching things on just one end of the spectrum. We have yet to find the middle ground, really.
Yeah.
But the middle ground, I think, might have been that we finished The Last Dance.
Middle ground would be Last Dance.
Yeah.
Perfect balance between intense and not intense.
And like, I'm rooting for people in that, and there are hardships, and
because there's a superhero in it.
Yeah, because we're following.
There's an actual superhero.
We're tracking the life of a superhero. Yeah, maybe that's why I enjoyed that one so much more than District 9.
Yeah, there's someone to root for, like a good moral. That was a wonderful tale and wonderful time. We've also been doing a fair amount of the true crime stuff. We watched The Wild Wild Country. I think we mentioned that last week. Guys,
Wild Wild Country is wild.
Here's what I'm not going to watch. Some of you guys have been sending in the things of the labor of love.
What's that?
Apparently, Grace, get a load of this. It's a reality show where 10 men, if I have this correctly, I won't have it exactly right, but I believe a group of men in a competition fight for the ability to impregnate a single woman.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's all, no, don't do it.
Oh, I
baby.
get it. Labor of
love.
Wow.
Don't do it. We can't do it, baby.
I might do like a second.
No.
As you fall into a deep slumber, I'm going to switch it on real quick.
I'll know. I'll be able to tell from my dreams when I wake up and you turned it on, didn't you?
There's also, after we recorded last week, I think we watched an old roundup of the first episode of Kid Nation. If we want to talk about intensity, rooting for people in this era, children, and just like mistakes made in reality television programming, Kid Nation, we watched, I guess,
Bring it back.
Funny or Die did these old, whenever this show came out, which I still have never heard of until you guys presented it to us.
2008,
they did roundups of the episodes of Kid Nation, and we watched the first one.
As much as we could.
Which you don't realize is only a roundup of episode 1 until the very end. They go, and that's all in episode 1. It is so nuts. I mean, the premise, it makes me, I'm a little bit more interested in watching it now, because the premise is like they cart or bus all of these kids from different walks of life, and they put them all in this like Westworld looking like
it's an old West town.
And then they have these kids like start their own society.
There's one outhouse. An outhouse, and there's like 30 kids.
Oh, it's
left to their own devices with one outhouse.
Oh, and they set it up like they're going to summer camp,
and then they introduce money.
And they introduce different groups of kids that are responsible for like making the rules and the laws and abiding by them, it seems like too much.
And the workers start getting upset that the
and kids
proletariats are the capitalist children are in charge.
Oh, it's a bad social experiment. They're
I gotta
too young.
download when we're done with this. I gotta find it, and I want to find every episode though, because I don't want to be able just to watch one episode. This one is one that I have to see. It's a train. I have to find this train wreck.
I'll watch it from a distance, but
you'll be baby. You know you'll be captivated immediately. You're gonna be in it.
I'm gonna have to remind myself this happened like 10 years ago, and these children are adults, and they're all okay, and this didn't scar any of them in any deep, irreversible way.
So let's do a podcast about
it. So let's talk about them now.
No, that is a crazy thing to think that they're adults and now. They have distant memories of being like, you want me to, like, there's no, and then
apparently in the second episode they present them with the experience of having to kill chickens for food. Yeah, that's what they do. If they make it look like it's a Wild and Crazy Kids episode, which I feel like I'm dressed as a contestant on Wild and Crazy Kids today.
You're the host for sure, yeah.
Hey guys, who wants to raid the mall? And it's definitely not that.
They kept a kill. They let the kids kill the
That's
chicken.
what they allude to, that they present the kids with possibly killing chickens so that the kids can make their own food. And I don't know with what the reality is.
When I was a kid, I tried making my mom a piece of cake, and I took out 6 slices of white bread and put icing on it.
Oh, see that? I mean, I can understand
You
the
can
reasoning.
understand, but imagine what I would have done with a chicken.
No, but see, we watch Survivor, and like adult humans have a moral dilemma killing chickens on that show.
We had a big
and these
conversation.
are children.
Let us know in the comments if you'd kill a chicken, because
I don't know, I couldn't.
first, if you would eat chicken, A.
Yeah.
B, would you kill a chicken? Why? Why not?
Sure.
So it's weird because I'm going back and forth in my brain.
Yeah.
I think there's something
if
about
I was
how
on Survivor, I don't think I couldn't physically kill a chicken.
if I was on
which is so hypocritical because I eat meat and I know that
Exactly.
trust me, I know that that's a terrible
but
thing.
they do. I remember hearing this however many years ago, but it's that thing where, like, as a kid, if you're taught what a meat is to eat, but you're not taught what the animal is first, you always have like a weird disconnect.
Oh yeah,
Like
that makes sense.
you're always gonna not think that the food is the animal, and so for a kid who doesn't understand that, to have
The
to
chicken nuggets
kill a
that they get
chicken-
at lunch at McDonald's are the chickens that are running around in,
yeah, and so who knows? But I don't know. I would be able to do it, but I'm not. But then I feel weirdly bad. But then I'm like, I eat chicken every day.
I know. It's all very strange.
Whatever. I need. Yeah, meat was. We're bad. I'm a bad meat consumer.
We're bad people. That's what we all get to learn in quarantine. That we're bad people.
Yeah, I mean, we are.
These are
I
the
am talking
messages.
about, like, I'm going to torrent this reality show about children eating each other alive.
No,
Yeah.
not each other.
Well, we don't know. we
Well,
don't get
just
to episode
emotionally,
10.
they're eating each
We
other
haven't seen
alive.
it, yeah.
That's true. We've only seen the recap of episode 1, which was a lot.
Yeah. Anyway, well, what else is going on, Grace? We can wrap it up shorter than normal if you want.
Oh, you want to do a short one? Well, what else have we been watching? We watched a lot of true crime stuff this week. I'm trying to remember and we've been watching What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh, that's lovely, folks. Let's talk about what
That's
we do
a good
in the
one.
shadows.
That's a good scripted show that both of us can get into. Everyone on it's great. It's so hilarious. Harvey, who what is his character's name? Guillermo was on Not Too Deep with me.
Yes.
He's so fantastic in the show and in real life. Awesome human being.
Oh, and his story in this
He's
season.
so
If you're not
good.
familiar, first you should watch the movie. I guess they're
Did we
both
watch
great.
the movie?
I mean,
I can't remember. If we did, it was a while ago.
if we did a while ago, but I've definitely seen it many times, and I'll watch it again if you want, if you're
Sure.
okay with the amount of violence in it, and I'll make sure that you are prior. I won't just spring it on you.
Yeah, I need an actual correct rating of the program I'm about to see.
But it's about vampires living in modern day
Staten
world.
Island.
Staten Island
It's so
mockumentary.
great.
It's as simple of a form idea as you can get, and holy moly, it's one of those shows that makes me so angry for the writing.
So funny.
It's so good.
And it's shot so cool.
Yep.
Like it's shot. It's the last episode that we watched was really it just reminded me of Get Out a little bit, where it's shot in this really stylistic horror way, but they have so much comedy rather than Get Out is more intense. That the way that they're able to balance like these really cinematic shots with just like physical humor and physical comedy is so good.
It's so good. Oh my gosh. And the acting, every single cast member is so funny.
And the weird connect to all of this is that Natasha, is that her name? No.
Oh yeah, Natasha, yeah. Or the host.
Is the host of the big flower fight.
The simulation, guys, it's not
it's
doing well.
glitching and it's fun.
You know what, too? Scientists just discovered a parallel universe where time runs backwards in Antarctica. So,
What?
yeah.
Okay.
No, they found particles, neutrinos that didn't align with, like, the way that normal behavior neutrinos should align. Because there's a balloon that NASA has in Antarctica that goes up 4 times the height of like a commercial flight, and it started picking up all this data. And the data can't be explained. The behavior of the neutrinos can't be explained by current laws of physics. And they're saying that one of the possibilities, which is more extreme, is that it's an indicator of an alternate dimension where time goes backwards. But it's not
Wow.
probably that. That's an extreme example of what could be.
Okay.
But there's still... So, again, it's breaking down. The simulation's breaking down.
Great, and that's from scientists, not
I
writers.
don't know how that amount of details from that one news article I read.
I'm like, you can remember all of that from reading a news article, but you can't remember that District 9 is violent from start to
and
finish.
That's our show, everybody. That's very nice.
But I think we will continue Ghost Island.
We're going to continue Ghost Island because I'm pretty into it at this point, but I don't like any of them.
Well, I think I'm trying to figure out who I'm. Donathan. Okay, if I'm a producer on Survivor season 41, an island of Donathans. That's all I want. I want every one cast to be a Donathan. I want the secondary island to be, Donathan Island, where actual Donathan is over there giving all the other Donathans advice and just like heart to hearts.
I got it.
Go ahead.
I got the season that I want.
What?
It's 2 tribes.
Okay.
3 tribes.
3 tribes.
Listen to
Starts
this.
with 3. Okay.
All triplets.
Triplets on all the tribes?
Each tribe looks identical because they're all triplets. And then when they're merging, they're not all sure who's who. And the triplets can get together and be like, I'm going to say you're this, I'm going to say this. And then
Whoa.
it starts getting crazy.
But what if it's
Clones?
Yeah.
Even
What
better.
if it's triplets? But are you saying the triplets are on the same team? I'm saying they're separated on 3 different tribes. 1 triplet on each tribe.
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
So all the tribes look...
Right, so when they drop their buffs.
who's who?
But triplets know how other triplets fake each other out. And how do producers even keep that straight?
Who knows?
Do they have to mark them like goats?
They have to brand them. Jeff does that, episode 1. And then that's how they know. They have to sneak up and see if they can find each other's brands.
If they have the right code on them. Oh man. Yeah, I would be fascinated, but I do still think that my idea of Donathan Island is the better idea here.
I think Donathan Island, Donathan is a very sweet-hearted
he's a southern boy. He's so sweet. And
fabulous southern.
I love him so much. He's just sugar to the core.
Good heart. He's got one of them southern accents that's like the best kind of southern accent, and
so
he's very
sweet.
emotional, very in touch with his feelings, and
And he takes care of his grandmother.
imagine the competitions all Donathan. Imagine the tripping.
Oh, but see, the physical competitions will be a sight to see.
That would be must-see TV.
That would be some wipeout level
But imagine
shenanigans.
if it was all twins, and Jeff was like, Larry.
Jeff would have the worst time making live action calls on
Oh my
everything.
God, you can trick someone into thinking one of the triplets is somebody else until like the very end, and then they can prove that they're survivor by being like, the reason I'm actually the survivor is because I'm not, Louie, I'm Gooey. And then
Dewey's over there being pissed off.
And Dewey is what? And I even tricked my brother. That could be great.
Wow. I mean, I will say, as a practical sense, thinking about actually producing this, for the audience, it would be very difficult to watch, to keep it straight. You're asking a lot of the audience. It's like watching a movie with subtitles. It's like watching a foreign film. You're asking the audience to read for an hour and a half.
I've spent the last 3 years asking the audience for a lot, Grace. I'm not going to stop now.
But see, with a season like All Donathans All the Time, you're gifting the audience a beautiful piece of art.
That's what it says around the rim of the logo.
Yeah.
The Survivor, All Donathans all the
Outwit,
time.
outlast, out Donathan. A Donathan Marathon, a Donathon-a-thon.
Is he? But you'd rather have like what's his name? Not Tan? I'm thinking of the what's his name?
Ty. Yeah.
That'd be more
Donathans
fun.
and ties. And you say, this is the season of Donathan. Time to tie one on.
Yeah.
I mean, we're workshopping this, guys.
Yeah,
we're
we
workshopping
can't be.
this.
We're not. It's like a work in progress. But if there's any producers of Survivor, let us know. We'll dive right in.
Yes, exactly. We got nothing but time to help you fix the show that's already working perfectly.
You wouldn't kill a chicken even if they like.
I don't know. I don't think I could. I wouldn't tell my team that they couldn't. I wouldn't be like, what's her face, and like set the chickens free and then also hide people's flint.
You know what the worst job would be in that
What?
scenario? Is the person holding the chicken.
Yeah, I mean, all of it is not ideal, but
Let's talk about some more.
No, now you're forcing me to live in an episode of Kid Nation right now, which is, oh man, I feel like those kids that had to be on Kid Nation, I have a very sympathetic soul for them because I feel like lasting through Kid Nation was like watching District 9.
It's not okay to do that, to put your kid on a reality TV show like
Unless it's one of the cooking shows. Unless it's the Top Chef Junior or like Chop Junior, because those kids are amazing at cooking at too young of an age.
It's creepy a little bit.
Yeah, those kids can kill chickens.
There's something about cooking too that's so adult and it's so sophisticated that seeing a kid do it creeps me out a little bit.
Or does it?
Put them in a playground. Get them away from me. I don't want to see them be talented.
Well, on that note,
yeah,
I think we really did it this week. This is a little bit shorter of an episode, but that's because, we've been watching all kinds of stuff. Yeah. And as always, give us your suggestions on anything you're watching that is fun. And as minimal to no brutal, graphic death and violence happening. Like, if everyone's limbs could stay intact for the majority of the program, that would be ideal for me.
His limb stays intact. It just becomes a different type of limb.
Yeah, so. And he tries to cut it off of himself so many times.
That's a hard scene. That was a hard one to watch. I did not remember that. That was awful.
It was a hard thing. Yeah, you already forgot about that? Oh, it's all in me.
I remember. I mean, yeah, but no, it was bad. That I felt. I felt that one.
Yeah, I felt it from underneath the blanket while playing Scrabble.
Mm-hmm. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. You can also subscribe to this podcast on iTunes and leave us comments about what your thoughts are down below about chickens and children.
Chickens and children. That's our new reality program. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.